Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I have my beverage of choice, my favorite beverage at the moment. It's unsweetened green tea, and as you can see, I'm at about 100 mils, so I've got a backup here just in case. But hello, welcome everyone to this podcast, this knitting podcast. It does not have a name, but this YouTube channel's name is supposed to be Seji Fields. Yeah, and that's that. Welcome. My lips are ashy as per usual since my room is really dry. So my apologies for my crustiness. Okay, that's better. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not filming during the day, and I'm pretty sure I've worn almost like the same stuff for the past couple of episodes, and that's mainly because I packed really lightly. But with that out of the way, yeah, I'm filming early this time. Actually, I wanted to film every Tuesday morning, but for some reason I just wanted to film today because I think I have a lot going on in my mind, lots of like thoughts, as should be, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to straighten things out with knitting because it's gotten a bit like messy, really messy, and I want to be more like on point because I keep making mistakes. I spoke about that mistake that I never want to talk about again last week. So I shall not further digress on that. But I made another really dumb mistake. But let's start at the beginning. I have my now trusty notebook here with me. Apparently this is episode 5. And at this moment I have not yet uploaded a single podcast episode. So I'm like 5 weeks ahead of scheduling if I end up even editing the first episode this week. I have so much stuff to do, but okay, let's start off. I have a finished object. Let me get this tea out of the way. My kind people, I have a finished object. I don't know how long ago it was. Well, I do. It was 5 weeks ago, I think, since I finished my first pair of socks. No, it was 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it was 3 weeks ago. And now I have a new pair. Yes, they are a bit crusty. My apologies. I've worn them diligently for an entire day just to get, just to get like some wear into it. Basically, here I have my freshly washed socks that I have come to adore and just absolutely love. And when I first finished knitting these pair, I touched it and it was like this is way like softer and has a way nicer feel to it than this. So the felting has made my socks softer. I guess that's supposed to be normal. I don't know, but it feels really nice. So I was like, okay, I want to wear this now often and put it in the wash often so that it gets to that point where it's like soft and nice to wear. It's me with a warning. I actually found out that I wasn't supposed to put this yarn in the wash, and I've done so about 5 or 6 times with my first pair, and they have been fine. I think it was on the lowest setting, so 30 degrees, but still, this yarn is supposed to be hand wash actually. So there's that. What else? Did I even write anything? Oh, I should give the specs on these. So these were knit with onion yarn number 4. The color is 833 dark green, as you can see. I don't know how the lighting's gonna be in post, but I'm gonna try and color correct because they look a bit weird now. But yes, 70% wool, 30% nettle, and I used the needles. I used a pair of needles of 3.0 millimeters. So, like, I guess I've spoken about these before, but I guess the, like, unique thing about these socks is that the gusset is at the bottom of the foot. Okay, I'll show you this again. I've shown this before, but as you can see here, the gusset goes like this on the bottom, so that if you like, you can like continue a pattern all the way through. The heel flap, it's just a simple like cuff, heel flap, heel turn, underfoot gusset sock, just a regular sock. But the heel flap is the eye of partridge. Yeah. So these pairs are nice. I really like how they feel. They're a bit longer than these. So that's cool. I'm happy with them. I would call these a success. I think basically this is like the second finished object for me this year. And with that, I have surpassed the amount of things that I've knit. Like last year, I knit one tiny thing actually, which was like a anime Hunter x Hunter loosely inspired like phone cover for a friend. So yeah, that's the socks. Actually, I was hoping to have a second finished object this episode, but it wasn't in the cards because I was smooth brain and I messed up big time. Basically, I had spoken about this sock, again 3 millimeters. Well, it looks the same as, basically the same as these, but this time the only difference is that the gusset is actually where it usually is, and it's bigger, like it's a bigger size 46, I believe. Yeah, so I was making these for a friend. And yeah, I made the first sock. It took me a really long time. I was like, whoa, it takes really long to make a sock for someone who has like big ass feet, you know? So I was like, I want to make my own socks because I have comparatively smaller feet, so it will take less time. And so since I finished that, like my sock, I was like, okay, now it's time to continue with this second sock. And as you can see here, I'm not that far. I just finished the cuff. I have 4 rows of the leg. Essentially, I was actually all the way here already, but then I realized that I messed up the stitch count. I cast on, I believe, 62 stitches, and then for some reason I cast on 58 with this one, well, at least, well, the previous one. And then as I was knitting, I was like putting it on the sock, like comparing, and I was like, the cuff seems a bit tinier, it like seems like slightly smaller. And I was like, for some reason I thought, oh, okay, probably like it's like stretched out because I knitted like a couple of weeks ago, like I knitted 2 weeks ago. It must have stretched, which makes no sense because I did not touch this sock. And then I went back to my notebook. I went back to my notebook where I basically document all this stuff. And then I checked and I saw that I got the count wrong. How I did that, I have no idea. I just I just have a lot of things going on, like school and stuff, and the heating is way too hot here. As I was saying, I have a lot of things going on now, so I'm actually not surprised that I'm making this many mistakes, but hopefully this is all in the past and I can just finish these by the end of the week. I really hope I can do that. And so that's it for socks at the moment. Then let's move on. What else do we have? A new purchase. So I'm pretty sure I got this last week, but I didn't want to talk about it then because I felt that I had been talking about other stuff and I didn't want to like bombard people with all the stuff that I bought. So the company that I purchased this yarn from is called Itobatake. That sounded Dutch. Itobatake. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm confusing myself. But I actually found this shop via Itobatake, which I spoke about last week. I found them because they were selling like some yarn that Itobatake made. So basically it's the same concept as Itobatake, which I'm not too sure if I actually explained what that company does last week. But essentially there's a lot of leftover yarn from companies in Japan, and so they take that leftover yarn, they transform it into yarn that can actually be hand knit, and they sell it for a very reasonable price. So high quality yarn for a reasonable price, and I guess like environmentally friendly, like it's like not wasteful essentially. I just really like the idea of repurposing something like that. So what do we have here? I got like steals. Basically they just randomly upload like new products like very frequently, and I found this. Let's see. I have no project for this yarn. Okay. You have seen the yarn. It is 1 divided by 6 silk mohair, 20% silk, 80% mohair. And each cone is about 100 grams, and so for each 100 grams there's 600 meters. That's why they call it 1/6, because that's how they kind of like they explain like the weight to the yardage. That's how they explain it. But yeah, anyway, it's in the color cream, and I basically got 200 grams for 38 euros, which is pretty cheap for like silk mohair. I actually compared it to Rowan's, like Rowan, like I think it's like a European company. Anyway, it's sold in the Netherlands, or it's available in the Netherlands, and I looked it up, and Rowan's Kid Silk Haze is 30% silk and 70% mohair. Yes, 70% mohair, and I saw that it went for at least 200 grams, went for at least 48 euros. Wait, that's not right. It was 25 grams, went for like $15 or something. Yeah. Okay, wait, I'm completely wrong. Like, it was like 80. 200 grams is like $80, $90. That's wild. I'm now. I didn't realize what a steal that was. Like, I was aware that this was cheap, but I didn't know that it was this cheap. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but like anything that, like any type of like sweater that I want to make in the future. Well, I actually had an idea for like a raglan sweater in one of those recent books that I got, those Japanese knitting books that I got. So I'm just looking for the right yarn. I also found on the website this beautiful yellow cashmere and like wool mixture, but they only sold 290 grams, and for the project that I would have liked to use it for, it required 500, so that's a bit unfortunate, but next time. Yeah, so I have that in my stash here. Hopefully I can find something before I leave, otherwise I'm gonna let let my dad come and pick it up, like he's coming to visit. Okay, moving on, we actually got some Itobatake yarn from Itobatake basically. So it's this one. It's what's it called? I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but this is cotton, 100% cotton yarn, 100 grams per 580 meters. That's the yardage. The lighting is awful here. Let me just get a bit closer. Yeah, lighting's still bad. Okay, so so this yarn is called Sazanami, and it is number B. So basically what they did is you have this type of Japanese traditional textile technique called kasuri, and it's like I don't really know all that much about it. I looked up some stuff on Wikipedia and wrote a couple of things down, and clearly not enough for me to actually intelligibly explain what it's all about. But basically it's just the dyeing technique, textile technique, dye something. They do something with dyes. Okay, so I eventually did some more research on kasuri, and basically it refers to a specific type of fabric, generally made in Japan, and this fabric has like specific patterns and images within the fabric. And I watched this one video of like the dyeing process on YouTube. I'll try and put a link in the description box below. And it basically, what happens is that they will like tie specific parts of the thread down so that the dye during the dyeing process won't seep into those specific sections, and that's how they're able to create like different types of patterns, essentially. Really cool. Kind of like reminds me of the tie-dye that was originally from like Yoruba culture. But yeah, essentially the yarn that I bought was inspired by that specific dyeing technique. And so there are 4 colors. First you have clear white, then you have, which is A, and then no, which is nothing, and then you have A, which has like a bit of blue, just a tiny bit, and then you have B, which has more blue but still like white stuff peeking out at places, and then you have C, which really doesn't have a lot of white. And yeah, so B was sold out on the Itobatake website, and I really wanted B because I thought it looked very pretty. So here's a picture of how B is supposed to look like, and this is what I got. Now, I don't know if you can clearly see it on the video, but it is not as white as on the picture, but they did explain in like a footnote that there is a possibility that it's not exactly like it's not similar. It might not be similar, but I feel like this is quite not a lot of white, if that makes any sense. But also I haven't seen the entire roll, of course, but still I have the feeling that it's not like as white as I, was anticipating, even with that like footnote there. So that's a bit unfortunate, but I don't know. I found like some free crocheting patterns online from Wool and the Gang, like very basic. Essentially, I want to try and see if I can make like a washcloth, or I don't know, something square and simple so I can learn the techniques, because I, as a knitter, have been kind of like scared of crocheting for like a good 2 or 3 years. I feel like it's so like insanely hard, and I don't like understand how you can make such like awesome like crochet work. I just don't understand it. It's like so, I don't know, so fluid. You have nothing like really on your needles or on your crochet needle. I don't know. It's a bit daunting, so I figured I should just go ahead and try it. I've been a bit scared for too long. Then I have a knitting update. The frill yoke sweater that I messed up last week by Hana Saido, that is from the knitting book,着まわしニット Mix and Match Knitwear. So, yeah, I messed it up. Okay, I'm talking about it anyways, even though I said I wouldn't, but it's actually the one that just fell like a couple of minutes ago. So, what was I saying again? Yeah, I messed it up last time because I twisted it for some reason when I was switching from a different length of like circular needles. So this is how far I've come. Clearly not so far. I'm currently working on the body, so this is like the length that I have at the moment. It's pretty nice, it's pretty calming, it's very like simple because it's just mediasu stockinette. It's just stockinette, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Do I have anything to say about this? Nothing other than I'm excited to see how the end result is going to be, and I think this is going to take me a long time because I am planning to knit some more summery things that I can actually wear in like a couple of weeks. As for the weather now in Japan, it's been very weird. Like one day it's like raining like so much, and then the next day it's like really hot, and then in the evening it's really cold, and then in the afternoon it's very windy, so it's very wisselvallig. Translate that, editing Seji. Yeah, so yeah, I just want to be prepared when that time actually comes, you know. Okay, so did I give the specs? No, I did not. For the yarn, the yarn is like all of the yarn that I am trying to use. Stop clicking. Made in Japan by knitting company Daruma. It's 100% merino wool, and it's called Genmon Nitikai Merino Wuru. Basically, it's like, how would I say, like raw? Like it's not, like I don't know if you can see, but it's not like tightly twisted, if that makes sense. It's like wool, and then it has like this tiny like thread keeping it together. Anyway, that's the yarn that Hana Saido also used, so I'm using it and I'm liking it now. I have like 2 other packs of 5 still in my room, and I think I should like open them up because I remember opening up the first bag and it stank like really bad. Anyway, moving on. A swirly update. I'm pretty sure last week I spoke about, yes, the swirly pattern and how annoying it is to knit up the swatch. Here it is. I have done nothing. Nothing at all. There's no update, just frustration, and hopefully I can do it this week, finish it off. I have been experiencing a bit of strain on my neck, but I think more so than knitting, it has been the constant bowing and yes, hi, 大丈夫です。いいですよ. Like the constant like bowing my neck. I'm just not used to it, and I don't know, I have a pretty sensitive neck, so I'm just gonna try and not do that as much anymore in class. But like, yeah, and I also, to be fair, I haven't like been like the best like posture having person. Like writing, I don't write like this, you know. I'm like, so I have to do the same thing I do with knitting as with writing, essentially. Okay. Also, I think I might want to do like a winter version of Swirly, because I actually knit with, this is actually not supposed to be part of the podcast, but I knit with this yarn. This is gonna be such a pain when I'm editing, but basically I've no idea what this yarn is. It's from Daruma. I wanted to use it for a pair of shorts. I've already like done a swatch and stuff like that, but I wanted to talk about it next week. But I thought this was such a cute color, and they also have this color, this yarn in like a light blue, and I thought it would look really, really cute as a swirly top with like light blue in the background and this as like the swirls. So I don't know when that's gonna happen. That's like far, far future, like far, far future, 2 months maybe. We'll see how the rest of the projects go. So that's it. Last thing. This is actually going to be, I think, a bit of a shorter episode, but that's okay. So we've spoken about all of this stuff. Let me just dump it on my bed. So I ordered again from Itobatake because they just had a really nice yarn that I wanted to use. I don't know why I'm doing this. That I wanted to use for a summer knit. I was rambling in this section, but basically the only thing that I wanted to say was that I found this pattern from a knitwear designer called Ray. But they made their first knitting pattern. They mostly make, I believe, crochet patterns, but they made this one called Moonchild, and I saw this like on like a short on YouTube. One of the test knitters was making it, and I thought, that's really cute. Like, here's a picture of it. So I thought maybe I should make, like, since it's their first knitting pattern, it might be easy and fast to make. I bought the pattern, I looked at it, I was like, I think I can do that in like a week if I try my best. So I'm just like holding yarn because I'm like really excited to show it. But I bought yarn from Itobatake to use for it, and I got it silk. I've never knit with silk before, and it's so luxurious. It's so soft, it's so nice. Basically, I made my swatch here already for the project. As you can see, it's like slightly see-through. So very airy, nice for the very humid and hot days in Japan. Yeah, so I got this from Itobatake. So let me just give you some of the specs. It's really late, so I'm a bit tired. So 100% silk, 100 grams, 600 meters, and it's called Fuku Shiruku, and Fuku Shiruku. Sorry. So yeah, I got 300 grams worth of this stuff, so more than enough to make it. I am thinking of maybe making like a bra that fits with it, because the Moonchild pattern basically has an open back, and I need some, support in the chest department. So I was thinking, why not make like a bra out of this as well, and then use it like in combination, and then, I don't know, it'll look more sophisticated. So yeah, I'm holding these two yarns together and then knitting with 4.5mm needles, well, for this. And yeah, finished the swatch, blocked it, and now it's time to start the project. And now it is time to end this podcast episode. That's everything I wanted to talk about today, I believe. Yes, that's everything I wanted to talk about today. I sometimes forget how much talking wears me out. It feels like all the oxygen gets sucked out of me. But I do feel a bit lighter. I do feel a bit happier. I do feel a bit more excited. And hopefully you do too. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Whenever you might be watching this, you probably let's not hope that you're watching this, I don't know, in August, or at least that I post this up in August, or if I No one ever sees this, and it never sees the day of light. Yeah. So that's everything for this week. I hope to get back to you next week with some progress. Hopefully not like progress and then messed up and had to go back, and then tiny progress. But I just have to be a bit more diligent and not knit when I'm tired. I think that's like the best advice I can give myself. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next